Have you ever felt like life is slipping through your hands, even though you're trying your best? You study, you work hard, you dream big, but still, something feels off. No matter how much effort you put in, success seems far away. That was the exact situation of a young man named Ayan. Ayan had big dreams. He wanted to become successful, respected, and financially free. But deep inside, he felt restless. His mind was always filled with doubts. His mouth often spoke words he regretted later. And whatever money he earned, disappeared before the month ended. He couldn't understand why his life was not moving forward, even though he had talent, energy, and passion. One evening, sitting in a park with frustration on his face, he met his mentor, an old wise man who had guided many young people in the past. Looking at Ayan's tired eyes, the mentor asked, "Why do you look so lost, my son?" Ayan sighed and said, "I don't know. I work so hard, but still I feel stuck. My life is not where I want it to be. I feel like I'm running but not reaching anywhere." The mentor smiled calmly and replied, "Ayan, let me tell you something very simple. Your life is in your hands, but only if you can control your 3M. Ayan was confused. 3M? What's that? The mentor looked at him and said slowly, "Your mind, your mouth, and your money. If you can control these three, nothing in the world can stop you. But if you fail to control them, they will control you, and destroy your life." Ayan laughed nervously. "Come on, sir. How can these three things decide my whole life? I thought success comes from talent, luck, and hard work." The mentor shook his head. "Talent without control is wasted. Luck without preparation is useless. And hard work without direction is nothing but exhaustion. Listen carefully, Ayan. If you don't control your mind, it will fill you with fear and doubts, stopping you from acting. If you don't control your mouth, it will push away people who could help you, because careless words break trust. And if you don't control your money, you'll always stay a slave to your expenses, no matter how much you earn." These words hit Ayan hard. For the first time, he realized that his failures were not because the world was unfair, but because he had no control over himself. That night, lying in bed, Ayan couldn't sleep. He kept repeating the words in his head: mind, mouth, money. Mind, mouth, money. Suddenly, he started to see his mistakes clearly. He remembered how he had overthought and missed chances, how his angry words had hurt people, and how his careless spending had left him broke at the end of every month. Ayan realized something powerful: if I want to change my life, I must first change myself. From that day, his journey began. A journey to master his 3M. Now, he understood the truth: success is not about controlling the world, it's about controlling yourself. And so, the first battle he chose to fight was with his mind. The next morning, Ayan woke up with a new thought echoing inside his head: my mind, is it my friend or my enemy? He sat quietly, remembering all the times his own thoughts had stopped him from taking action. He recalled how many opportunities slipped away because of overthinking. Once, he had prepared for weeks for a job interview, but on the final day, his mind whispered, "What if they reject you? What if you embarrass yourself? Maybe you're not good enough," and instead of showing up, Ayan stayed home. That job went to someone less talented, but more courageous. It wasn't the world that stopped him. It was his own mind. Ayan began noticing the pattern. Whenever he had an idea, to start a small business, to apply for a scholarship, to take a bold step, his mind attacked him with fears. It was like an endless war between two voices inside him. One voice said, "Go for it. You can do it." The other voice replied, "Don't even try. You'll fail. People will laugh at you." Most of the time, the negative voice won. And every time it won, Ayan lost. That evening, he went back to his mentor and confessed, "Sir, I understand now. My mind is the biggest reason for my failures. But how do I control it? It feels impossible. The mentor nodded with wisdom and said, your mind is like a wild horse. If you let it run freely, it will throw you into the mud. But if you train it, it will take you anywhere you want to go. The problem is not your mind. The problem is your lack of discipline. He continued. First, stop feeding your mind with negativity. Stop wasting hours comparing yourself to others, stop drowning in bad news, stop surrounding yourself with people who only complain. What you feed your mind, grows. Feed it fear, and fear grows. Feed it courage, and courage grows. These words shook Ion. For years, he had been feeding his mind the wrong diet. Doubt, fear, procrastination. No wonder his life was stuck. So he decided to train his mind. At first, it wasn't easy. He forced himself to wake up early, even when he didn't feel like it. He started reading inspiring books instead of scrolling through endless distractions. He replaced the words, I can't, with, I will try. Every day, he wrote down 3 things he was grateful for, to remind himself of the blessings he already had. Slowly, Ion noticed changes. One day, an opportunity came, a chance to give a presentation at work. His mind instantly whispered, don't do it. You might fail. Let someone else go. But this time, Ion smiled and said to himself, enough. I am in control. He prepared, stepped up, and gave the presentation. His voice trembled at first, but he pushed through. By the end, his colleagues clapped, and his boss smiled with pride. That day, Ion won not just the presentation, he won the battle with his mind. Ion had finally learned to control his mind. His thoughts no longer pushed him into fear, instead, they pulled him toward action. But just as he started enjoying this new strength, another weakness of his came forward, his mouth. For years, Ion never realized how powerful words could be. He spoke without thinking, often with anger, sarcasm, or impatience. And slowly, those words created invisible wounds in the hearts of the people around him. He remembered one painful evening when his younger brother asked for help with studies. Ion, tired and frustrated, snapped at him, can't you ever do anything on your own? You're so lazy. His brother's face fell, and though he didn't reply, his silence said everything. That one careless sentence built a wall between them. At work too, Ion's mouth created problems. Once, during a team meeting, a colleague gave a suggestion. Instead of listening, Ion mocked, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Everyone laughed, but the colleague's eyes filled with quiet anger. Weeks later, when Ion needed support for his project, that same colleague refused to help. It was then Ion realized, talent and intelligence can open doors, but careless words can slam them shut. One evening, while sharing his frustrations, his mentor said something that changed everything. Your words are like arrows. Once released, they cannot return. They can either protect you or destroy you. Speak to build, not to break. These words hit Ion harder than any lesson before. He began to see his mouth like a sword, dangerous when uncontrolled, powerful when mastered. So, he decided to change. At first, it wasn't easy. His old habit of reacting instantly was strong. But he remembered his mentor's advice, before you speak, pause. Ask yourself, will this heal or hurt? Will this build or break? The next time his colleague made a suggestion, Ion paused. Instead of mocking, he said, interesting idea. Let's explore it further. The colleague's face lit up with surprise and respect. Slowly, his relationships at work began to improve. At home too, Ion practiced gentler words. When his brother struggled again, instead of scolding, Ion smiled and said, don't worry. I'll explain it step by step. You'll get it. His brother's eyes shined with gratitude. That night, they laughed together after a long time. The biggest test came when Ayan faced criticism. Normally, he would argue or raise his voice. But this time, he stayed calm, listened, and replied with maturity. People noticed the difference. Some even began to admire his calmness, saying, "Ayan, you've changed. Your words carry wisdom now." He realized something powerful: controlling the mouth wasn't about speaking less. It was about speaking better. Words of kindness built trust. Words of encouragement gave others hope. And respectful words created bonds stronger than money or power. Ayan finally understood the mentor's wisdom: the mouth is not just a tool for speaking. It is a mirror of your character. Speak with control, and you will gain influence. Speak carelessly, and you will lose everything. From that day, people began to listen when Ayan spoke. His words no longer pushed people away, they drew people closer. He had discovered the secret weapon of leadership, the power of a disciplined mouth. And with his mind focused and mouth controlled, Ayan was ready for the final battle, the toughest one of all: controlling his money. Ayan had mastered his mind and controlled his mouth. His thoughts were sharp, his words were wise, and life finally began to move forward. But there was still one thing left that chained him down every single month: money. No matter how much Ayan earned, he always felt broke. His salary looked good on paper, but by the end of the month, his wallet was empty, and his bank account showed nothing but disappointment. Why? Because he spent without thinking. Every time he got paid, his mind immediately went to pleasure: new clothes, the latest gadgets, dinners at expensive restaurants, weekend parties. He loved showing off. He thought, if people see me living large, they'll respect me more. But the truth was the opposite. People enjoyed the treats he gave, but when his pockets were empty, no one cared. The cycle repeated again and again. Earn money, spend money, regret later. It wasn't that he wasn't earning enough. It was that he wasn't controlling what he had. One evening, frustrated, Ayan confessed to his mentor. "Sir, I work so hard but I'm always broke. Sometimes I feel like money is cursed for me. No matter how much I get, it just disappears." The mentor looked at him kindly and said, "Ayan, money is not cursed. Money is neutral. It is not good or bad, it is only a tool. But like fire, if you don't control it, it will burn you. If you control it, it will cook your food and keep you warm." Ayan asked softly, "But how do I control it?" The mentor leaned forward and explained. "First, understand this: money is not for showing off. It is for growing. The poor man spends to look rich, and stays poor. The wise man saves and invests, and becomes rich without showing off. If you don't control money, money will control you. And a person controlled by money can never be free." These words struck Ayan's heart. For the first time, he realized that his problem wasn't low income, it was poor management. So, he decided to change. The very next month, when his salary arrived, he did something different. Instead of rushing to spend, he saved a portion first. He told himself, "I will pay myself first." Then he made a budget for his needs, cutting out useless luxuries. At first, it was difficult. His friends invited him to parties, and he had to say no. He saw others buying new gadgets while he kept his old phone. Sometimes, he felt embarrassed. But deep inside, he reminded himself, "I'm not losing anything. I'm building my freedom." Weeks turned into months. Slowly, his savings grew. One day, he used part of it to invest in a small side business. It didn't make him rich overnight, but it gave him confidence. For the first time in his life, money was working for him, instead of him working for money. His friends who once mocked him for saving began to ask him for advice. Some even came to him for loans when they ran out of cash. Ayan smiled, remembering the days he was the one borrowing. Now, tables had turned. He realized something powerful: money controlled by wisdom creates independence. Money controlled by greed creates slavery. Months later, he sat with his mentor and proudly said, "Sir, now I finally understand. Money is not about how much you earn, but how much you keep, grow, and respect." The mentor smiled and replied, "Exactly, Ayan. People think money is about luxury, but it is about freedom. True wealth is not in expensive things, but in peace of mind. And you only get that when you control your money." Ayan finally felt secure. For the first time, he wasn't chasing money, money was following him. He had broken free from financial slavery. And with that, he had conquered the last of the three Ms. Now, with his mind disciplined, his mouth refined, and his money under control, Ayan was ready to step into the final stage of his transformation, the life that comes when all three Ms work together in harmony. Years passed, and Ayan was no longer the same person he used to be. The restless, careless boy who once complained about life had transformed into a man of wisdom, discipline, and respect. His journey of mastering the 3M, mind, mouth, and money had reshaped not just his career, but his entire existence. One evening, Ayan sat on his balcony, watching the sunset. The world looked different now, not because it had changed, but because he had. He remembered the old days, when his mind was full of fear, his mouth full of careless words, and his wallet full of emptiness. Back then, he thought life was unfair. Now he smiled, realizing that life had always been fair, it was he who was unfair to himself. His disciplined mind had become his compass. Whenever doubts tried to creep in, he had trained himself to respond with courage. Instead of overthinking problems, he searched for solutions. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" he now asked, "What if I succeed?" This shift in mindset alone had opened doors he never imagined possible. His controlled mouth had become his bridge to people. Where once his words hurt, now they healed. Where once his tongue created enemies, now it created allies. His colleagues respected him, his friends admired him, and his family trusted him deeply. He realized the truth in his mentor's words: respect is not bought with power or money, it is earned through words spoken with kindness and wisdom. And his wise handling of money had brought him freedom. He no longer lived paycheck to paycheck. He no longer feared emergencies. His savings and investments had grown enough to give him peace of mind. He could support his family, help those in need, and still have enough for his future. For the first time in life, he felt truly secure. One day, Ayan met his mentor again, now much older and weaker, sitting under the same old tree where their journey began. Ayan bent down respectfully and said, "Sir, everything I am today is because of the lesson you gave me, to control my 3M. The mentor looked at him with pride and whispered, "No, Ayan. It wasn't my words. It was your choice to act on them. Remember, knowledge without action is useless. You chose to change, and that is why you succeeded." Tears filled Ayan's eyes as he held his mentor's hand. In that moment, he realized that the greatest wealth a man can have is not money, but self-control. Because once you control yourself, the world can no longer control you. That night, Ayan wrote in his journal, "My mind now focuses on growth, not fear. My mouth now spreads hope, not hurt. My money now creates freedom, not slavery." He closed the journal with a smile and thought, this is the real meaning of success. Not cars, not houses, not applause. But peace. And peace comes only when you control your 3M. Years later, Ayan became a mentor himself, guiding others who felt lost as he once did. And every time someone asked him the secret to success, he would smile and say, "Don't chase the world. Don't blame circumstances. Don't wait for luck. Control your mind, mouth, and money, and you will control your destiny." White heavy checkmark. Final message to the audience. Your mind shapes your future. Your mouth shapes your relationships. Your money shapes your freedom. If you master these 3 Ms, nothing can stop you. If you ignore them, nothing can save you. Control your 3M today, before they control you.